brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about the delay. People in the school line will figure out eventually how things work, and everyone will stop driving the speed limit. Good morning, Captain Kern and Justin Smith and Wolfram. Thank you for allowing me to be just a little late. It was one of those mornings where everyone unfortunately decided to drive the speed limit. So, it's all craziness everywhere. We have a bunch of stories, some heartwarming, some what in the Walmart, but that is the news in 2024. Good morning, everyone. So, our first story, excuse me. Our first story, I generally do not cover political things, but this is a fairly big story, and I figured it was more international and current news just to put it out there. According to inside sources, a Pakistani national was arrested for a plot to again try to unalive President Trump. Apparently, the DOJ knew about this scheme since April. So, Asif Merchant, also known as Asif Raja Merchant, 46, arrived in the US in April of 2024 after spending some time in Iran. Well, you guys, for once, you found someone, you had him under radar, and you found him. I'm so proud of you, Department of Justice. Just a couple, months late. The Department of Justice announced Tuesday that a Pakistani national has been charged in connection with a plot to, unalive a politician or U.S. governmental official on U.S. soil. While the Department of Justice, Asif Merchant, or known by many other aliases, all ending with the last name of Merchant, though, so not sure how super spy guy you are, arrived in the U.S. in April of 2024 after spending time in Iran. When he arrived in the U.S., he contacted a person who he believed would assist him in this plot, with that person reporting Merchant to law enforcement and becoming a confidential source. While the Department of Justice press release did not name the potential targets of the plot, a U.S. official briefed on the matter told CNN that FBI investigators believe the 2024 GOP presidential candidate, Donald Trump, and other current and former U.S. officials were intended targets. The DOJ stated that Merchant explained the plot to the confidential source in a New York meeting, telling the confidential source that, quote, the opportunity he had for the confidential source was not a one-time opportunity and would be ongoing. He also used, the finger force multipliers as, kind of clever mimery of what he was going to do. He said that the unalivings would occur after he left the U.S. and that he would communicate with the, confidential source using code words. The CS asked whether Merchant had spoken to the unidentified party back home with whom Merchant was working, and Merchant responded that he had, and the party back home told him to finalize his plan and then leave the United States. In mid-June, he met with a purported hitman. Oh my gosh, did he go to hitpeople.com? Not that I want our criminals to be better, but I'm guessing if you don't go to the dark web, however that works, that you're not getting a real, this sounds like a Letitia style, fake lie detector.com kind of thing, or just absolute ridiculousness. I'll probably cover more of this on my Politically Mo channel should I get Should I get everything done today that I have on my list, which is hopeful? Possibly. In an update to a story that we covered since it broke, I believe, and I'm not going to show this video because YouTube does not like violence, but the hulking Florida teen, Brendan Deppa, who severely laid hands on a teacher, got knocking her to unconsciousness over a Nintendo Switch, was sentenced to 5 years in prison. I have started a political channel. It's called Politically Mo. I don't have many videos on it. This is the first week of school. I should have more um, time to work on this now that the kids are out, so I should be able to put that out. It is a fairly new channel. It does not have a lot on it. I am hoping to do more with it. It's mostly for the politically jaded and homeless. I tend to be irritated with both sides of politics, and the libertarians just make me look ridiculous half the time. So I'm like, I can't even say I'm a libertarian sometimes. The hulking Florida teen who brutally pummeled a high school teacher unconscious over his Nintendo Switch last February was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Brendan Deppa, now 18, threw his head back after Circuit Judge Terrence Perkins handed down the punishment on Tuesday evening. Deppa also received 15 years of probation after his release and will be placed in a group home, court records show. And I understand the adopted mother's heartbreak, and the mother's heartbreak that when he was mainstreamed into a school and they did not realize the depth of, maybe the EIP plan or, the IEP plan or what have you, but he still made the choice. If he was able to be mainstreamed in school and she's claiming he's as high functioning as he still made the choice to attack someone, and we can't excuse those things. Deppa was charged with felony aggravated battery, bodily harm, after he attacked paraprofessional Joan Nadich in the hallway outside Menendez High School in Palm Coast. The then 17-year-old, who stands at 6'6" and 270 pounds, was seen on security footage sprinting toward the female educator, who turns and spots her assailant a split second before he shoves her to the floor. Deppa then repeatedly stomps on the unconscious paraprofessional before punching her at least 15 times. Several staff members were needed to remove Deppa from Nadich and hold him to the ground. In October, Deppa pled no contest to the charges and an original sentencing date where he faced up to 30 years in prison. After that was rescheduled, after Perkins said he needed to hear from more witnesses in May. The teen, who is on the autism spectrum disorder or has autism spectrum disorder, will serve his sentence in jail despite pleas from his mother and defense attorney. And this is the woman that he attacked. It's just absolute. It was brutal. I mean, you guys can see the video. I'm not going to post it up here. CNN can show it. ABC can show it. But if Mo shows it, it's not advertiser suitable. And honestly, I don't want to see this woman just laying down, getting absolutely stomped. It is harrowing to watch. I mean, they've got some stills. I mean, she was unconscious, you guys. It was terrible. They quote, this is from the adopted mother. They're punishing that he is Black. They're punishing that he is large. They are punishing his disability. No, ma'am. He knocked this like 94-pound woman on the ground. This is not behavior we can accept in society. I understand that you want to protect your son, but absolutely no. I have worked with adults with developmental disabilities. And yes, when you work with them, you are taught how to, field blows, things like that. But you are given an IEP, and it's just not acceptable to allow people. There were still consequences when a client would act out or lay hands on people. They were not, divorced from consequence. Wolfram, thank you for gifting 5 memberships, and those went to The Wicked Wookie, Tammy, Ressa Murphy, Wendy Muller, and Robin Labor. So congratulations. Welcome to the Church of Mo. We have sarcasm dark chocolate, no patchouli oil or those recorder things, because those are Satan's audio instrument of torture. And so I disagree with the adopted mother, absolutely. Uh, I don't think they're punishing his race, his size, or anything else. They are punishing the actions. And, having worked with, again, adults with developmental disabilities, to some extent, they understand that they have control over their actions. And you grade on a curve, but there were consequences. If you had a bad behavior, maybe you would lose group TV time and you'd have to stay in your room because the other clients in the house didn't feel, particularly safe. Yeah, that's pretty much her position. Poor her son. How dare you try to put him in prison? I think he needs help. I think he needs treatment. I don't think he needs to be put away in a prison where he's going to be taken advantage of or harmed, she added, according to the Daytona Beach News Journal. She went on to call out the school for not properly handling her son's disabilities. Now, what I will say about the adopted mother, and um, it seems like, having dug down into the story a little bit following all these years, um, she kept him at home. So he's on the autism spectrum. I believe in other stories he was also diagnosed, possibly, so don't take this with full 100% accuracy, but oppositional defiant disorder as well. But, and let me get that off of, we'll just put it back on him, or we'll put it on her. But she basically kept him at home, allowed him to have complete and utter control of kind of his settings. So she catered everything to his disability. And then when he got old enough to go into a group setting, they did not, have these sort of coddlings. They expected him to go to school. And there are so many different stimuli that I'm sure that he was overwhelmed. So I feel like she kind of set him up for failure by keeping him at home and really catering everything around the house to facilitate him not having to be out of his comfort zone. Let's see here. Quote, I told the school that being hungry was a trigger, that noise was a trigger, that being told no was a trigger, that being corrected in front of other people was a trigger, that electronics were a huge trigger. What was not a trigger for this gentleman? I mean, again, to the best of your ability, treat people exactly to their level and expect the best they can do. Yes, all of these things are going to be a trigger because you never had him deal with any of these things. And look, parenting is hard. I am not trying to Monday quarterback this. I don't have a child on autism spectrum. I don't know how I would react, but from an outside observer looking in, he had basic control of his environment and knew exactly what he could and could not do. And then you put him into an environment where everything is different, but you still have to be able to control yourself. And it sounds like he wasn't told no at his home because it was a trigger. So I don't know how she managed toddlerness with him. Depa's attorney said he should be tried as a juvenile since the attack on Nadich was still when he was 17, but the assistant state attorney, Melissa Clark, argued that the teen had a history of violence, according to WESH. Perkins agreed with Clark's argument and said the February 2023 attack wasn't an isolated incident and that Brandon Depa had numerous battery charges in the past, the outlet reported. Nadich alleged that Depa spat in her face and called her a lady of the evening. Quote, the last thing I remember is having my hand on the door handle, Nadich told the Post in January. I don't remember anything else until 3:30 p.m. when I came to. At that point, I was in the ER and my daughter and son were standing there. Nadich, who first encountered Depa in January 2022, previously said she has PTSD and suffers anxiety because of the attack. Brendan Depa's actions that day have caused me to lose a job I had for almost 19 years, lose my financial security, and lose my health insurance, Nadich said during a May hearing. Like everything was taken away from me that morning, Nadich said. At 10 o'clock that morning, everything was taken away. My life will never be what it was before. Depa can appeal his sentence in writing, but was ordered to have no contact with Nadich, which means staying 500 feet away from her home or place of work. Yeah, she's lost hearing. She has a lot of medical problems that are ongoing with this. So this wasn't, think of the children. It really is a sad case all around, but people have to be held accountable. Absolutely, Nanny Go. It's not an excuse. I know many people on autism spectrum, and it them if they didn't share with me that they were, I would not know. And the only thing it changes is how I maybe ask them, is it easier for you to understand something if I tell you directly rather than being, subtle or that kind of thing? It just changes the way I try to communicate because I know some things are different. But that's nothing. I have a nephew who, for the first time in 7 years this summer, came up and gave me a hug and actually had a conversation with me. And it's amazing, absolutely amazing. And I think that when you give people excuse, you give them limits. So that's my opinion. It's a sad story all around, but he definitely had to pay the price for doing this terrible thing. This woman's life will never be the same. For those of you in California or near there, there was a 5.2 earthquake near Bakersfield that rattled Southern California. I don't know if we are leading into the rock San Andreas, but there's always that. Good morning, Celestial Force and Jedi Jess. A magnitude 5.2 earthquake centered around 18 miles southwest of Bakersfield was felt across a wide swath of Southern California on Tuesday night. I'm guessing if you live on California, you just call this a Tuesday night. I don't know. I could not imagine earthquakes becoming regular, but I live in the Midwest where tornado watches are regular, and I'm sure people from California would be like, "Why do you live here?" So it probably is. The earthquake, originally estimated a 5.3, struck at 9:09 p.m. according to the U.S. Geological Survey. It was followed by dozens of aftershocks of 2.5 and up, including a 4.5 earthquake that occurred less than a minute after the first, and a magnitude 4.1 trembler at 9:17. The epicenter was in a sparsely populated farmland area about 14 miles west of the unincorporated community of Grapevine in Kern County, 60 miles northwest of Santa Clarita, and 88 miles northwest of downtown Los Angeles. 2 minutes after the earthquake hit, a large boulder the size of an SUV was reported blocking multiple southbound lanes of Interstate 5 about a mile south of Grapevine Road. So if you are in California, I hope you are staying safe. I hope these were, just little shakes and nothing crazy because oh my goodness. In what the hell timeline am I in story? I have never watched an episode of Bluey. I have also never watched an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I feel like those are two talents I should put on my fake LinkedIn account. But Bluey coins worth 400K were stolen by an Australian warehouse worker, police say. A 47-year-old man is accused of stealing 64,000 unreleased limited edition coins, according to Strike Force Bandit, a special unit of police set up to investigate the theft. So wait, we made a Strike Force Bandit, like we made cool team names to find Bluey coins? What timeline are we in? We've got RFK putting bears in Central Park, talking about brainworms. We've got a guy selling or stealing Bluey coins and getting taken down by like super secret spy police agent name. I mean, look, I have not watched Bluey. I've heard it's good. I'm not going to watch Bluey. An Australian man, I'll have to find out. I haven't even read the article. I usually don't read the articles until I read them with you, so guys can see my real reaction. An Australian man was set to appear in court on Wednesday after being arrested for the alleged theft of more than 600,000 Australian dollars or 400,000 American dollars worth of commemorative coins linked to the popular children's television show Bluey. The 47-year-old is accused of stealing 64,000 unreleased limited edition $1 Australia coins from a warehouse in a Sydney suburb of Witherhill Park in June, according to Strike Force Bandit. You couldn't have named it Smokey and the Bear. Or hot dog, hot diggity dog. I know Mickey Mouse's Clubhouse, though. A special police unit set up to investigate the theft. One of last year's most streamed television shows in the United States, the Australian animated show targeted at children, is widely loved by adults and was the 14th highest rated show of all time, the movie tracker website IMDb shows. The coins produced by the Australian Mint look like $1 Australian coins and could be legal tender. People say they were selling online for 10 times their face value. A similar run of special commemorative coins sell for $20 Australian each on the Mint's website. One eBay seller was charging almost 600 Australian dollars for a pack of 3. Detective Superintendent Joseph DeHooley, or DeHooley? I'd have no idea, y'all. Fred told reporters at a news conference he was initially not aware of the show's popularity. Quote, the theft of these coins have deprived a lot of young children and members of the community from having access to these coins, so we're doing our absolute best to try to recover these coins to put them back in circulation. The police say the man worked at a warehouse and stole the coins, which weighed approximately 500 kilograms or 1,102 pounds from the back of a truck before selling them online within hours. Police are looking for 2 male accomplices. Well, I was going to say send him into the Olympics if he was able to deadlift those and pitch them. I will say I have seen little snippets where Bluey talks about things that I think that maybe kids experience but don't quite understand, like when I guess one of the aunts was struggling with having a baby, or the mom being overwhelmed and losing her ever-living S. I mean, hey, tell moms they need a break. I think that was over him farting or pooing, but I have not kept up. I am stuck learning. What was it my son was telling me? The PTSD, no, the CPS, the DPS of his new battle warrior. And I was like, well, why does your battle warrior have PTSD? Was he in a bad battle? And he's like, what do you think I'm talking about? I was like, I have no idea. And he said, no, DSP, destruction per second, or so. Look, y'all, I was trying to pay attention, but I have no idea what I was congratulating my son about. But apparently he has a great fighter guy. And he's gonna grind on some stuff. A raid on a Sydney house in June recovered 189 coins, and the police inspector said the vast bulk of the coins are already in circulation. Those who received one do not need to surrender it to the police, he added. He appealed for anyone with information about large stashes of Bluey coins to call the police. So there you go. If you know the status of Bluey coins, the Australian police would like to talk to you. In what the heck ever is going on here? And I take exception to this because I used to walk when I walked outside at about 5 in the morning, 4:30. I got up and I did my walk out it was fairly dark, but I would walk around in the early morning. Oklahoma cops cuffed and slammed a dad to the ground for walking or taking a morning walk with his autistic son, 6 years old, and disturbing body cam. So I will probably open this and put this in my political channel as well, but open it in a different system so you guys can see the body cam footage because this is ridiculous. An Oklahoma community is enraged. A 6-year-old boy is traumatized, and 2 police officers are under investigation after the cops slammed the child's father to the ground and arrested him for simply going on a morning walk with his son. But despite the outrage, the 2 cops involved have not been placed on leave while the investigation is underway. The distressing incident occurred on July 4th in the city of Watonga just before 6 a.m. when John Sexton went on his regular walk with his son and was stopped by a pair of Watonga police officers. Also, police officers, why are you wearing shorts? Oh hell no. He got arrested by bike cops. I feel like that should be a civil penalty if a cop is going to arrest you in shorts. I'm just saying. There has to be something extra wrong, and we should extra penalize cops in shorts. He's like, they're jorts? Dang it. KOCO News 5 reported, quote, I found it a little suspicious, just walking around, one officer told Saxton after approaching the father and son, according to body cam footage obtained by local ABC affiliate station. Now, you're telling me that you see a man with his son in a stroller and you think he's casing a joint? I'm sure there are people that use their kids to kind of maybe have a blind against their illegal shenanigans. But at 6 a.m., let's see, walking around is suspicious, Saxton replied incredulously, which I would too. I mean, technically, not really, but I mean, it's pretty early in the morning. The cop shot back. You've been walking around here at 5:30 in the morning. Yeah, we do that. The dad told the officer. No, you're not. Give me your ID, the officer sharply demanded. Saxton said he didn't have his ID on him as he left it back at his house, and the situation quickly escalated. The unnamed officer took Saxton out at the knees and slammed him to the ground before cuffing his hands behind his back, the body footage shows. Next to them, Saxton's 6-year-old son, who has autism, was seen wailing. The dad was put into the back of a police cruiser where he asked the officer what he was being detained for, according to the video. Quote, we don't know what you're doing. We can call it criminal activity, the officer answered. Saxton, who was eventually released without being charged, but the arrest has left a permanent mark on his young son, he told KOCO 5. He's been a cop for Halloween the last 2 years, and that's what he's been waiting to be when he grows up. That's what he says, and now he's scared of them, Saxton said. The Ohio Bureau of Investigation probed whether the officer's arrest and use of force were justified while the 2 cops remained on the jobs. The county sheriff is demanding that charges as the Blaine County District Attorney takes up the investigation. Blaine County Sheriff Travis Daughtry has publicly called for the 2 officers involved in the disturbing arrest to be placed on leave from the Watonga Police Department while the investigation is ongoing. Why the hell are they still on the job? Again, if I am out taking my child, how am I casing joints? Yeah, it was, this sounds awful. I'm horrified to watch the body cam, but this is going to be absolutely just enraging, I'm sure. We've had over 200 phone calls this weekend. I can understand the way they feel or why they feel the way they do, because hearing that child scream is one of the hardest things, Daughtry said of the 6-year-old boy's cries in the video. He also said that one of the officers previously worked for his office and had a history of complaints, including from coworkers, which led Daughtry to demote him and remove him from working with the public. Well, I'm so glad he got got accepted at another force that lets him work with the public, although they do make him wear shorts. So, I mean, the deputies that were underneath him, they lost faith in him as their leader. Yeah, so I demoted him back later, Daughtry told the local station. The former sheriff's deputy quit and eventually got a new position at the Watonga Police Department. The city of Watonga and its police department have refused to answer questions about the July 4th incident. Quote, as part of our our commitment to integrity, allegedly, we take any allegations seriously, sort of, and we are committed to transparency, unless we can be opaque, and accountability in our operations. We need more tax money, city officials said in a statement. I added some of those things, though. Until the investigation is complete while following state law related to personnel matters, we will refrain from providing additional comments to preserve the integrity of the process. Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation reportedly completed its probe on Saxton's arrest, but would not release its findings. Well, seems like a bunch of we need more money to finish our investigation, I'm sure is what they're going to say, or sensitivity training or some actual BS instead of holding people accountable. Well, unfortunately, this nugget might not be a proud peacock. The youngest Fortune 500 CFO was set up to run his family's $21 billion chicken empire, but his erratic behavior could change that. Well, this poor kid, I mean, he was born to be a proud, rooster, and he's become a nugget. At around 1 a.m. on June 13th, John Randall Tyson, the slim, boyish 34-year-old scion of Tyson's food empire, tried to level with the Fayette, Arkansas police officer who had just pulled him over for suspected drunk driving. Quote, can I ask you a genuine preference? Tyson was saying in the body cam video, one hand to his chest, perhaps in an effort to convey sincerity, which is like, if I get in trouble tonight, my life will be ruined. Well, this poor kid, maybe you couldn't have drank and then drive. It's almost like you made a choice there. I'm just throwing that out there. The statement is not a question or a preference. It kind of sounds like the hyperbolic ramblings of a guy who's had too many Miller Lights, which Tyson said he was drinking that night, according to the police report obtained by Fortune. But it's easy to understand why, in that moment, he felt doomed. At the time, Tyson was CFO and Chief Sustainability Officer at Tyson's Foods, a $21 billion company founded by his great-grandfather, headquartered in adjacent Springdale, Arkansas. His arrest in June was the second time he's been collared for an alcohol-related crime since becoming Tyson's chief financial officer and the youngest CFO in the Fortune 500 companies in 2022. In November of that year, just 6 weeks after he started the job, it was widely reported that Tyson was found sleeping in a stranger's bed and charged with trespassing and public intoxication. I mean, you guys, I have been tipsy, and generally that just leads to children, but I have never gone into someone else's house and fallen asleep like Goldilocks. I mean, that's a lot of stuff right there. So I think that I'm not going to go into the full article because then it starts talking about values and all this other stuff, and I don't do mathing. But this does kind of follow that wealth usually lasts about 3 generations. You have a hardworking, grandfather that built the business from scratch, knows how everything works and is hardworking. Then you have the son or daughter of that person that sort of kind of understands that, but they've grown up wealthy, so they've not really had that drive. And then the grandchild is so divorced from that work ethic sometimes that the whole thing just goes to poo. But there you go. Chicken Little's having an issue. This was a story that I did read beforehand, but I think it's a really good one just to remember that dark times don't last. And If you're doing something you love and it brings you out of a dark time, then absolutely stay here. There are good things coming. And even if it seems really, really dark right now in your life, there are people that are all around you that are just holding candles and, waiting for you to just trying to light up for you. Uh, a star TV chef's daughter breaks down at the Olympics after failing to medal. Quote, happy I'm alive. Team Great Britain, not Britain, Team Great Britain diver Andrea Spendoli Syriacs made a serious admission after she finished sixth in the women's 10-meter platform final at the 2024 Olympics on Tuesday. The 19-year-old Olympian, whose father is a French chef and television personality, Fred Syriacs. Look, he hasn't been on the Great British Baking Show, so I don't know if he's famous, but he's no Paul Hollywood. I'm just saying. She opened up about her past mental health struggles in an interview after the event. Quote, obviously it wasn't the result I wanted, but I'm not even upset at the competition. I mean, the girls dove amazing and did better than me, and it's because they work really hard. And yeah, as you say, it wasn't meant to be, Andrea said, through tears. Genuinely, I'm not trying to be macho or anything, but I'm not upset with my performance. 3 years ago, I didn't want to be here, as in alive. So today, I'm just happy that I'm alive, I'm breathing, and I've got my family here to support me. Uh, Andrea finished seventh at the same event in the Tokyo Games 3 years ago. My mom was just like, keep smiling, we're proud of you, and we are here to see you, she said of the moment she shared with her mother after Tuesday's event. And at the end of the day, that's all I can ask for, and I just want to go see them. And I mean, I think that's important that, things look dark to a lot of us sometimes. And there are days where you're like, okay, I just need to make it through the next 5 seconds and then the next 5 seconds. And we all have those times. And I absolutely applaud her for coming out and giving this message of hope, saying, look, I know things are dark some days, but keep going. And there are people around you that maybe you aren't noticing because it's so dark, but they are holding candles for you and it will lighten up. It does get better. Uh, interviewed or So she was interviewed for BBC Sport after she captured the bronze in synchronized 10-meter platform event with teammate Louise Tolson on Monday. So her father said, what I love about my daughter is her positivity, he told the outlet on Tuesday. Today, she didn't make it to the podium in the women's 10-meter platform. Tonight, she's going to have a quiet night, and tomorrow she's going to go back to being happy, smiling Andrea, just enjoying life, enjoying Paris, and enjoying the moment. That is Andrea. And that is beautiful because it's all about balance. It's about knowing who you are and making the most of life. And that's what she's doing. I'm so very happy for her. She had already shared an incredible moment with dad Fred last week when she earned herself an Olympic bronze. Taking to her Instagram, Andrea thanked them for their support and vowed to return to the Olympics. Never give up, and I will be back stronger, she wrote. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I am telling you, I would do this, but it would be hillbilly spray, air spray, the airbrushed hillbilly, tank tops and t-shirts everyone was getting from the mall. I swear to goodness, if any of my kid is in the Olympics, we are doing airbrushed hillbilly representation. So just absolutely, I think a good story to sometimes throw in there. Things seem dark, even for people that look like they have everything going for them. Everyone struggles, everyone's in a dark place sometimes. And, just hanging on, even if you have to take it 5 seconds to 5 seconds to 5 seconds. We've all had those days. Just hang on. There are people around you that love you and that will miss you. And in the future, you might touch their lives. You have no idea. In what the Jeffrey Dahmer is going on in New York, severed hens were found in a crock pot filled with bleach in a New York apartment. I guess it wasn't a slow roast then. uh, with possible links to remains torched in a shopping cart. New York, WTF? What is going on with you, New York? I mean, I know I pull from the New York Post a lot, but good Lord, New York. Severed human hands were found stuffed in a crock pot with bleach inside a Bronx apartment Monday. The victim is likely to be the same person whose remains were torched in a shopping cart in Yonkers, sources said. The detectives were executing a search warrant inside an apartment on Rogers Place near East 163rd Street in Longwood at about 11:30 p.m. when they made the grisly discovery. Investigators came across the bleach-filled crock pot on a kitchen floor with two hands sticking out. Just what in the Joel Guy Jr. Chandler Alderson is going on here? A black bag discovered inside the freezer likely holds more remains, including at least one leg, but investigators had not opened the bag yet, according to sources. A force multiplier and not street legal pharmaceuticals were also found in a bedroom, cops say. Investigators believe that earlier Monday, two people loaded more body parts into a shopping cart and pushed them onto a Metro North. They took this people part cart onto a train, and no one was like, "Hey, I know this is New York and we generally don't talk to each other, but is that a leg in your cart?" Audio coffee, you win. You win the internet with that. Oh my god. Then brought it to Sherwood Avenue and Bronx River Parkway in Yonkers, where they lit the remains on fire. First responders descended on the area for a fire around 2 a.m. on Monday, Yonkers cops said. Once the blaze was extinguished, fire and police officials made the gruesome discovery of a lifeless body on the sidewalk. A probe determined that although the body was set on fire in Yonkers, the Westchester County city was merely a dump site, and the investigation was turned over to the NYPD and the Bronx District Attorney's Office, police said. The 65-year-old building super of the Bronx building, who declined to give his name, told the Post that the tenant of the fourth floor apartment where these remains were found lived in one room of the two-bedroom unit. He acknowledged that the tenant was into not street legal pharmaceuticals and that he received complaints before but did not elaborate. He said he saw the cops bringing a body bag outside and also viewed footage showing a man and woman enter the room around midday Monday. All I know is the police told me someone was killed here. And he's like, I don't know nothing about nothing. Well, I mean, did you see the case yesterday of the woman who stabbed herself 20 times, both front and back, and they labeled it as self-deletion? Not even in Arkansas, y'all. That was in, I think, Pennsylvania. So there you go. Pieces and parts are being found everywhere in New York. Hopefully they get, all jokes aside, this was a human being, and I hope that they can, he was someone to someone, or they were someone to someone. And I hope that they can provide justice, get the people who did this horrific thing to that person, and, get the amount of justice that we can get on this planet for now. In other news, and you guys, you know that I have a distinctly negative relationship with Star Wars, but I don't fault Daisy Ridley, and unfortunately, Daisy Ridley has been diagnosed with Graves' disease. Quote, I didn't realize how bad I felt. The actress learned of her diagnosis in September 2023. It seems like that too, but I wanted to read the documents and maybe do a video and see exactly, because I was like, wait a minute, did she have information on Hillary Clinton? Daisy Ridley is opening up about her health in a revealing new interview that she was diagnosed with Graves' disease in September 2023. The actress, 32, discussed her experience with the autoimmune disorder in the cover story of September or October issue of Women's Health, which is going to drop yesterday. It's the first time I've shared that I have Graves, said Ridley, who previously shared her struggle with endometriosis and polycystic ovaries. Graves' disease is an immune system condition that affects the thyroid gland, according to the Mayo Clinic, causing the body to make too much of the thyroid hormone. Now, this is really hard to deal with. You get a racing heart, you get tremors, you're constantly hot. Um, as a person whose thyroid can go overactive, but I never get the superpower of being super skinny because F you, Mo. But my thyroid has tested high a lot, and it just gives you it makes you feel anxious, you sweat more, you can have heart palpitations. Generally, you're skinny because your metabolism is ramped up, but I am immune. uh, Ridley's road to learning that she had Graves' disease began when she met her general practitioner for bouts of hot flashes and fatigue after wrapping up her psychological thriller, Magpie. I felt, well, I just played a really stressful role. That's probably why I feel poorly. She was encouraged to see an endocrinologist who noted her symptoms, which included hand tremors, racing heart rate, and weight loss, were often dubbed as tired but weird. That struck a chord. It was funny, like, oh, I just thought I was annoyed at the world, but it turns out everything is functioning so quickly you can't chill out. There is no cure for Graves' disease, but treatments can reduce the risks of complication and help manage symptoms. For Ridley, that included adapting what Women's Health called a routine of daily medication and a more mindful diet, including going gluten-free, which is said to help with inflammation. Pretty much. I'm not super strict about it, but generally cutting down on gluten makes me feel better, said Ridley, who's also been a vegan for. No, I'm not being vegan. I'm sorry. I love bacon too much, but Ridley, if it works for you, yay. Also, please don't make any more Star Wars movies. Please. I'm asking you for a friend, a former fan, if you will. Please just say no. She also began slowing down more and practicing self care, which included regular exercise. It's just an hour for me, and it's my time to do what I need to do to make myself feel good. Acupuncture, massages, infrared saunas, and cryotherapy have all been integrated into her routine. I've always been health conscious, and now I'm trying to be more well being conscious. Well, there you go. Thyroids are a pain in my behind. Let's see here. Back to pieces and parts. A woman who sent a freedom seed into her boyfriend, then, chopped him up and spread the body parts across 2 countries. It really is a Dahmer morning. Well, true, true. If I just had an assistant, a wellness coach, a planner, a life coach, possibly someone to clean my house, I'm pretty sure I could focus on self-care too. Well, that is a face of someone who will do that to you. And he had a glorious semi-mullet. What the hell, woman? A Maryland judge sentenced a woman to 61 years in prison for unaliving and dismembering her boyfriend, prosecutors said. Following an 8-day trial at St. Mary's County, a St. Mary's County jury in March convicted 46-year-old Michelina Desiree Goodwin of second-degree murder, use of a firearm in the commission of a felony, and unauthorized disposal of a body in the death of James Voldemir Nabroskic, 50. The judge imposed the maximum sentence possible, according to the state's attorney, Jamie Sterling. The defendant's heinous act of shooting the victim in the back pales in comparison to the gruesome details following the murder. After unaliving the victim, the defendant dismembered him and scattered his remains through our county and neighboring county. Ma'am, did you watch the Chandler Halderson case? He didn't get away with it. Neither did Joel Guy Jr. or Taylor Shabusiness. Please, what the heck? Do not make people jigsaw puzzles. Do not unalive people. I thought that these were fairly easy commandments to, well, the first one is, a bit of a life thing, but the boyfriend's family reported him missing to the Maryland State Police on December 21st, 2022. Cops determined that he hadn't been seen or heard from in 10 days. Further investigation determined foul play was involved in his disappearance. Troopers discovered body parts throughout St. Mary's County and nearby Charles County. Police arrested Goodwin for murder. Larry Murphy, 42, was also arrested in mid-January 2023 for murder and accessory after the fact. According to a probable cause arrest affidavit obtained by Southern Maryland News, Goodwin told her ex-boyfriend's family that she had last seen him in early December 2022 when she was planning on breaking up with him before he took off to Virginia in a company vehicle. But she later told cops that she and, her ex were having an argument. She pointed a force multiplier at him, the affidavit reportedly said. It went off all Alec Baldwin by itself and hit him in the back. And then she was like, well, what am I going to do here? Alec Baldwin, admit myself, or, leave pieces and parts of him to torture his family all around the county. She then reportedly enlisted Murphy's help to dismember the body and dispose of the parts. Murphy denied his involvement. He's actually indicted for accessory after the fact, and he was sentenced to 1 year in jail after the jury found him guilty on the charge last year. My hope is with the outcome of today's sentencing and hearing, the victim's family can finally find peace, justice, and healing, closure after the horrifying homicide of their beloved family member, Sterling said. His obituary said he worked several years as an HVAC technician. Quote, for the last few years, Jimmy has worked odd jobs helping everyone around him and is remembered by many working at St. Mary's Farmers Market. He never stopped working and trying to help others. Jimmy will deeply be missed by his family and all that knew him. Just what in the actual heck is going on, people? I understand 2024 has gone, crazy. Now, this one I kind of feel bad, but I also snort laughed. So I think everyone's allowed to snort laugh in the Church of Mo, but we also have to feel bad for this guy. A massive hair dye reaction leads a man to look like Megamind from... Oh, I'm sorry. Find peace. I probably should have used a different turn of phrase, but I was getting too excited about this man's forehead. I feel really, really bad for him. But this poor man. It was a roll of the die. A UK man has issued a warning after a botched hair coloration led him looking like the animated movie character Megamind. I didn't look like myself at all. It was massive, Ryan Briggs, 27, told Kennedy News Agency of the dye job gone awry. The Lancashire native said the horrible incident occurred last month. Oh, this poor man. I feel so bad, but I'm a 2-year-old. I'm a 2-year-old and I need to be stopped. This is terrible. Let's see here. He had tried to dye his hair to cover up some unsightly grays. Dude, you're a dude. Get some little gray hairs going. Us silver fox hunters, although I'm retired and married unless Mr. Mo lets me get a brother husband. Us silver fox hunters don't mind a little gray is all I'm saying. Now, you might not get those women that are looking for young fellas, but there is a large contingent of, silver fox hunters. True. I applied the dye and it did burn a little, but I thought that's what it does, the gas technician said. Okay, in the UK, is a gas technician someone that works on oil rigs or a guy that pumps your gas? And I'm not trying to be dismissive. I don't understand if that's like a job that he mixes things in a refinery, or is he, working in a gas station? Either of which are cool. I just don't know what we call people sometimes. Briggs woke up the next day with a tiny rash, which initially he didn't think anything of until his head started expanding. I was at work and it just escalated from there, lamented the horrified lad. I looked like Megamind. It was bad. Accompanying photos show Briggs with the bloated headband encircling his forehead. Oh, Lord, it just got worse. This poor man. Okay, well, it hopefully it goes back down to normal head shape. My colleague said you need to go to the hospital, said Briggs, who heeded their advice. Despite his extreme swelling, doctors told the patient to return home and report back if his condition deteriorated. Okay, doctors in the UK, you see this S and you're like, you're fine. Take a paracetamol and call us later. And I only know about paracetamol because I watch, One Born Every Minute. Oh my gosh, that is the greatest reality show if you want to watch people giving birth or just going into the maternity ward. I have some experience, but let's just say it's kind of like people watching at its best because you just have this odd array of insanity. Doctors said Briggs' condition was triggered by paraphenyl lenadiamine, PPD, a known irritant and allergy commonly found in hair dyes. In fact, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration advises prospective dyers to conduct a patch test wherein they rub the colorant agent on their skin to see if they react before applying the chemical to their hair. Briggs spent 13 hours in the hospital while medics attempted to prevent swelling from reaching his neck and airways. The workman was subsequently discharged around 3 a.m., after which his girlfriend had to buy an unspecified prescription medication for him as he still couldn't see out of one eye due to extreme swelling. And the poor fellow's noggin has since shrunk back to normal, and he says, yes, but his scalp is full of little yellow and green scabs. He says he's just grateful that his throat didn't close up, and honestly, that's great. Uh, just yikes and a half. It is in a sport coming to your local Walmart and or street festival. I am just pissed that I did not know about this before. There is a bizarre sport called car jitsu, a sport where seatbelt chokes and confined brawls drive fans wild. I mean, why did I never learn about car jitsu? I thought that was something me and my brother did when, I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. When you try to fight for not being in that little crappy middle seat if you had to bring a friend along. This sounds like a sport for 2024. ESPN, the Ocho, get on this. Road rage may be going mainstream. Car-jitsu, where professional brawlers battle one another inside the confined space of a sedan-sized automobile, is the latest bizarre combat sport cruising its way to success. Featuring fighters on four wheels permitted to use anything within the car to their advantage, including seatbelts to choke out an opponent. And while the claustrophobic concept might sound slightly insane, Car-jitsu is burning virtual rubber on social media, already boasting a reported average of 5 million views per week. Celebrity fans include Kenan Thompson and Kevin Hart. New Jersey has already approved it for gambling, and ESPN aired the phenomenon for the first time on the Ocho. Mostradamus, I am here. I wonder if Mr. Mo will let me buy ESPN The Ocho to add it to our bundle. Oh, and there's lady fights. What in the absolute hell am I watching here? How did we get to this timeline? There is something extremely visceral about watching these guys and gals go at it. Mike Salveris, co-founder of the Pro League Network, which owns the rights to Jitsu, told the Post. If you look at some of the footage, you see some of the camera guys mouthing to the director, "Holy S," that actually happened. I I don't think so, but I really wish it really was. I do wish that use of seatbelts and unsportsmanlike behavior was allowed when I was doing jitsu because my brother was annoying. Allegedly, I was the perfect child and my brother was annoying. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, Sarah Boone style. Allegedly, I was a pain. The sport originated by a Russian grad student in Kansas State University named Vic Mkhvi, look, something Russian, in the United States to earn his PhD in mathematics. A black belt in judo and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, he first came up with the idea of competitive grappling inside a vehicle in 2022 or 2020. The league, where fighters are smushed into seats and crushed into dashboard, became official 2 years ago. It's been full speed ever since, with 30 regular contenders. The early matches were typically filmed inside a 2005 Toyota Scion. The Scion was chosen based on safety, size, and affordability, according to those. What? So you can have a farm league, but you can't use a Dodge Neon? Pretty much, pretty much. Let's see. Inside a warehouse in Branson, Missouri, but other locations and cars are now being used. Please bring on the PT Cruiser. I need this in my life. I need a PT Cruiser fight. Just, it will be the greatest belated 40th birthday gift ever. The rules of engagement are quite straightforward. The sport operates using a 2 to 3 round system where both fighters must begin buckled in their seats. A coin flip decide who gets the driver's side and the shotgun side before alternating in round 2. The match begins when contenders unclick simultaneously. The winner isn't determined if the winner isn't determined after 2 rounds, a set at 3 minutes a time. The third starts with the both fighters fastened in the back row. Jiu-jitsu follows the rules of Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which doesn't teach punching or kicking, instead focuses on painful chokeholds and bone-bending arm bars and other techniques of grappling. I don't know. Where is the mom that's going to throw a flip-flop to the back seat, though? Like, that's it, I'm done. That's how they end the round. Someone just throws a flip-flop in the car. Now we're not getting Frosties. Look, that may have happened, and I'm still bitter. That's why I say that. The notion of being in a confined space like that, it opens up a whole new, different stream of strategies than you would normally use. Pro League Network co-founder Bill Yuktonis told the Post, adding that safety modifications like removing airbags were made to the car. Anything inside is up for grabs as used as for leverage, though snapping anything off to use as a weapon is forbidden. Yakonis admitted that each round requires quite a bit of repair for the vehicle. I mean, that just looks like me and my brother in the back seat. Like, don't sleep on me. Let me alone. Lots of times, fighters will quickly push the front seats all the way back to create a level environment. It's quite common to see seatbelts intentionally wrapped around an opponent's neck, because, why not, as a way to get them to tap out. Such was the case in a recent bout between Rihanna Cardile and Miranda Ray. Some of it isn't even jujitsu, it's just surviving in there, fighter Kyron Bowen, who also officiates, told the Post. In a recent bout with CJ Ground Shark Hunter, Bowen recalled tussling from the front seat to the passenger seat, back to the driver's seat, then to the back seat, to outside the window. Fighters are allowed to swing out of the car. The match starts with open windows as long as they don't touch the ground outside the vehicle. 2 referees would then reset the match. There are also a lot of unexpected things that the athletes need to adjust to on the fly, such as the lack of airflow. Air conditioning is not allowed. 85-degree heat outside is a lot worse inside a car. Hunter, who defeated Devon Johnson on Sunday, told the Post. It's a tough situation, but I love an uphill battle. Well, since it's jujitsu, I don't think they let you punch, but I could be wrong. I love this. I did not know that this was a thing. Uh, I'm horrified that I was unaware of this shockingly ridiculous and awesome new sport that looks somewhat like masochism on 12. So there you go. If you are looking for something new on the Ocho and you didn't remember that rhythmic gymnastics starts, today at the Olympics, then I give you Karjitsu on ESPN The Ocho. In my final story, and this one I did read before, but it just touched me so much. And I think a lot of us can, if you can think back, a lot of us had a teacher that really touched us or someone in our life that really supported us during a time when maybe we really, really needed it. And this is just so sweet. And it comes from my hometown, well, my home state. The heartwarming moment, a student shows school mom, his teacher, the tattoo he got in her honor. This teacher is skin-spiring. New York Post, we have talked to you about your puns. A recent Indiana high school graduate inked up his arm with a moving note from his favorite teacher who he says is responsible for helping him find his passion in life. Quote, I had no drive, no passion, nothing. Chase McCoy said, I didn't even expect to ever have the possibility of going to college or even graduating. McCoy captured the heartwarming moment. He showed off his fresh ink to Renee Sigmund, his culinary arts teacher at Carroll High School in Fort Wayne. The 2024 grad replicated above his heart a handwritten note she gave him that reads, quote, don't let anyone dull your sparkle. Always live your truth and continue to fight for what you believe. Shut up, Sigmund shouted as she leapt from her chair. I was afraid you were going to do that. The pair shared a tender hug, and Sigmund told her former student he was the best. Well, yeah, maybe they didn't want to say his chestular area, but it's also the media, so they sort of kind of got it right. The video, in which McCoy captioned more than a teacher, has since racked up nearly 5 million views. The pair first met when he signed up for her culinary program during McCoy's junior year. In a follow-up video, the teen explained he had given up on himself, and while he had always had a love for cooking, he never expected it to blossom into a career path. Sigmund gave her pupil the tools and encouragement to grow and understand it was never too late to start fresh. It's been really challenging. She always pushed me to be my best as a person, McCoy told 12 News. Sigmund, who McCoy calls his school mom, said it's her goal to make students feel like family, opening the door for special and inspiring relationships. He's got his little toque on. He looks like Ratatouille. On the first day, I let them know you're going to see me every day, several hours a day, the entire school year. You're all going to be like brothers and sisters in here, Sigmund said. With a high school diploma and a culinary certificate in hand, McCoy is now pursuing dreams he never previously thought possible. He's headed to college in fall to study business and hopes to open his own restaurant in the future. There is a possibility he might be interested in filling in Sigmund's shoes when she retires. I love this story. Well, I mean, to each their own, but I thought it was a good story. And sometimes we need to end with a little positivity that isn't, pieces and parts of people ending up 3 counties over, because holy fazolies, this was a Jeffrey Dahmer special this morning. Let's see who I can send you guys to. I think I am sending you over to Brandy, but let me double check on that because I was hauling behind and late when I set everything up because I didn't realize that middle daughter would need to be taken to school early for everything else. Yes, I am sending you over to Brandy Churchill to watch the Nai Thao triple murder retrial. I have probably butchered that name entirely, but go over, give her some love. There are people trying to be jerk faces to her, and no one deserves that drama. We're just people on the internet, talking about news or trials. No one needs to be a pain in the behind. Have a lovely day. I will be at 12 using the chalkboard behind me as I set up my camera and hope it works. Going over the autopsy report from the Sarah Boone case. I am not a medicalologist. I'm just going to tell you guys that. I did work in a medical office, and we will look up things and try to list out all of his injuries. Oh, she doesn't? Then I will switch. I didn't look at that. Again, like I said, I was hauling absolute behind. Would you guys like to go to Recovery Attic? I'll probably send you guys there because he started 3 minutes ago. But if you happen to be in a stream with Brandy, give her encouragement, give your content creators encouragement. We love doing this, but some days, it is nice because there can be some, like, just a scotch of just jerky people in the internets. I will see you guys in a little bit. Have a great day if I don't see you again. And then no nightly news tonight because it is Wednesday. They started school on a Tuesday. They have thrown me off. Bye, guys.